All right, and here we go, ladies and gentlemen, with Game 2 of LGD China versus Orange Esports in the grand finals of the Red Bull ECL LAN. And LGD is up 1-0 in this series. They took a pretty convincing victory last game, only giving up 3 kills to Orange. So let's see if Orange can make a comeback and get a hold of this series. So we actually see Outworld Devour banned out in most of the games in the first phase, and the first game that it isn't, looks like Orange will take them in the first round.
Yeah, Orange Esports, I already like this draft way better. They get a very snowball-oriented hero for Mushi that's much more survivable in the OD. They get more stuns than they had last game in one pick with the Nyx Assassin, and now they get a Shadow Demon. So much more gank-oriented lineup, much more burst damage for this team. In Game 1, we saw them pick a draft that had exactly one stun. It was the Rubik Telekinesis Lift, Chen Creep, sure, whatever they can steal with the Rubik, sure, but not a whole lot of chain stun, not a whole lot of burst damage, and really not many signature heroes. Mushi Shadow Fiend is, at times in the past, it's been one of his go-tos, but just not really a reliable hero in this current metagame, certainly not against the kind of aggressive picks that LGD China had. So, like the draft a lot better for RNG Sports already, Ben, and how about you? What are your thoughts? Where do you think these two teams are headed?
I think it's an okay draft from Orange, but I don't suspect that they know what LGD is doing. They actually didn't go for the Gyrocopter first pick, which is what we almost always see LGD China do. If you leave Gyrocopter or Alchemist in the pool, they take it. And they didn't take it, which lends me to believe that they're actually doing something different. And that means Dragon Knight first pick and a Chen. That's kind of pushy. And Nature's Prophet as fourth. I think they're just going to push Orange Esports to death. And
they do have 2 picks left. We've seen them run the Windrunner a lot. She's actually banned. There is a Magnus. Might be hard to fit him into the lanes. Razor, wow. Well now.
that's not bad. It's not a bad pick at all.
Good against 2 melee carries in the early to mid game. Dragon Knight Lifestealer. Dragon Knight can always be in range form, sapping their damage. Obviously, some people view Razor as a counter to Lifestealer. I view him more as a hero that can help you to deal with him.
It's a soft counter.
Yeah, not a hard counter for sure. And it gives them some much-needed AoE and Plasma Field. That was actually one of the highest damage nukes in the game. If you hit the nuke at the max range of the Plasma Field on both ends. So, decent counter push, kind of an unusual pick as well, and maybe something that'll catch LGD China by surprise.
Yeah, I think that LGD has the stronger lineup right now, though. If they can end the game, or at least do a lot of damage to the T1s and T2s like we saw them do last game, by like the 20-minute mark, then I think that Orange won't be able to farm. They don't have enough control of the map, and LGD just has a much better early game lineup. Nyx Assassin really needs level 6 to start making an impact around the map. Chen just much better at finding those levels, and Outward Devour really needs a BKB, I think, versus this sort of lineup.
Yeah, he'll need a BKB, and we'll see what... Looking at their draft now, he's got to be the mech builder for this team. They don't have anyone else who can really farm it. And if they want to fight against LGD in the mid-game, there's good AoE between Breathe Fire, the Prophet Ultimate, Infest damage. Not overwhelming, but a mech will be important. There's a lot of burst on LGD's side, which means if he goes BKB, it'll be a delayed BKB. That is for damn sure. They'll need their offlaner now, or at least that other solo, and we'll just have to see what it's going to be. LGD China, they'll ban out a Leshrac here, so they remove one of the stronger pushing supports in the game. Something that they maybe could have ran themselves. They are lacking a setup initiating stun, but they could have gone for Leshrac, I feel. They actually remove it. Orange have run farming Leshrac in the past, something they could have turned to here. Won't be doing it this game. I mean, to me, it looks like a tri-lane with the Razor, so I don't know if they'd really run Leshrac as a solo mid. And
I think what they don't want to get pushed down themselves. Their lanes are really weak right now. They have Dragon Knight mid, Lifestealer safe lane, Nature's Prophet in the off lane, and Chen in the jungle. Chen can't really do that much early versus triple lane, and Dragon Knight and Nature's Prophet, like probably 2 of the weakest solo heroes in competitive. So I think what they plan on doing is, okay, we're probably gonna lose our lanes, but we don't want to lose towers really fast as well as losing our lanes. And they don't really have a good setup for Leshrac. I think they're just gonna pick a more like solo-oriented roamer. I'm not exactly sure what that's gonna be, but nothing that requires a setup like Lina, Leshrac, etc. So
there is, well, no, actually Rubik at the last ban here. So there's no Rubik, there's no Shadow Demon. Twin-headed Dragon, perhaps, if they want some counter push, gives them good AoE. We'll see what direction they go for. As for RNG Sports, it looks to me like an aggressive tri-lane Razor. It's just very odd to pick that hero and run him as a safe lane farmer. We have seen some teams do it, but I don't feel it's particularly impactful if you just want to safe lane farm, there are heroes that can do more in the mid game than Razor for sure. So
Right.
we'll
I think
see.
Orange wants to take the fight to LGD. They want to pair up triple lane versus triple lane. They want to get OD to crush Dragon Knight in the mid lane, and whatever they pair versus Nature's Prophet will almost certainly be able to win. And
Interesting.
Lich, wow, this is not what I expected from LGD.
Yeah,
Scratch the push.
Frost Armor won't help you this game. There's no melee carry, and sure you get the bonus armor, but that's not that big of a deal. It's just for the laning stage, just for those denies. I guess this could punish the RNG Sports tri lane. You aggressive trying with heroes that need level 6, Nyx and Shadow Demon, and now you're being denied a lot of creeps.
So I think what they could do with their lanes is just put Lich in a solo off lane. And if they have a triple lane there, Lich just denies and tries his best not to die. And they play greedy in the other few lanes. They get as much out of the bottom lane, the safe lane, as they can with lifesteal free farming and Nature's Prophet and Chen just jungling and helping out Dragon Knight if necessary. I think the pressure is really on Orange in this early game to try and get those early kills and or levels with a Nyx Assassin and a Shadow Demon. Finding kills is going to be fairly difficult because they'll have a lot of people in their jungle, and finding experience will be difficult because Lich will constantly be denying those creeps.
Yeah, can punish the tri lane. Is this where Orange just say, all right, we'll abandon the off lane and maybe we'll pick some sort of greedy jungler like, I don't know, an Enigma, perhaps?
I think that would be decent too. They could also pick like another fighter early. I'm trying to see what's left in the pool.
I mean, I guess
I think
Razor...
a Weaver would be paired well versus Lifesteal.
If they went Weaver, they could run Razor safe lane, would do well against Prophet 1v1. I don't think he'd crush him necessarily, but certainly would do well. OD can dominate Dragon Knight mid. Then you have a Weaver tri lane against a Lifestealer tri lane. That would actually be really strong.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty good for them. I'm not trying to think of any other options that they can pair with them. Nothing really jumps out to me. Weaver seems like the stronger pick right now. They don't have anything to zone out a Weaver too. Lich is awful at zoning out Weaver because he can just Shikuchi away from a slow. Dragon Knight, their only stun on the team. Looks like they're going for a Magnus with the last pick. And this will secure some of the anti-push. They don't really have a melee hero that can benefit from the Empower, but still a decent pick overall. It's a safe pick versus the potential BKBs from LGD. The problem is with Orange, they have to rely purely on the Razor right now. If they get BKB, OD just gets completely obliterated by BKB. I guess they have a Shadow Demon for some sort of control too, but what they really want in this team fight is control. LGD is actually lacking a lot on that. They only have one stun.
It's their turn to have one stun.
Yeah, one stun is...
Is this a gentleman's agreement? There's got to be one team each game that has only one stun. I'm not sure. There's that mini stun on Chain Frost technically.
I think early game in the laning phase, LGD loses out on that. The laning heroes from Orange Esports just looks way stronger. But in terms of split push, LGD probably comes out ahead in the 8 to 20 minute mark of the game. And if Orange can secure farm on their more important heroes, if they can get a Magnus Blink Dagger, Arcane Boots, and whatever items the OD wants to go, and decent levels on the Nyx Assassin and tanky items on the Razor, I think that they can roll ahead with it 20 plus minutes.
LGD China, Orange Esports, these two titans from the Asia region have faced each other quite a few times over the past few weeks and months, and now they're facing each other again in the RedBull ECL Season 2 LAN Finals Grand Finals. The winner of this match secures about $16,000 in prize money, as well as a berth to the big dance for the Red Bull Tournament Series at the end of the year. And on that note, we'll introduce the teams. LGD currently leading the best of 5, 1-0. It'll be DDC playing your Lich. Heading to the solo mid lane will be Sylar with an early Quelling Blade. I was telling Blitz that Lifesteal actually does quite well against OD mid. He didn't believe me. We'll see if it happens here. It has happened in the past. Yao and the Dragon Knight heading actually to the bottom lane. Now this is something I don't know if Orange will be expecting. Dragon Knight off lane for Yao. DD on the Chen heading to the off lane too. And Xiao 8 on the Nature's Prophet. He'll be your safe laner, at least for the time being.
Wow, and actually, it looks like Orange is going to pair a Magnus middle. I totally don't think that they expect Sylar in middle. And Sylar is going to crush the Magnus. Not crush, but he'll do pretty well versus it.
Both teams, I think, are going to catch each other by surprise. Orange definitely will not expect the Dragon Knight bottom. And on that note, we can introduce Orange Esports as well. As the regen rune spawns top, we'll see Net probably just deny it here. No, he'll activate it in the end. Orange Esports, they're trailing 0-1 in the best of 5. Net, your flashy Shadow Demon player, isn't going to be on his signature Sand King, but still could make some big plays with timely disruptions. Extincta, more of a playmaking support in the Nyx. Mushi, on the Razor. He's been the drafter, at least for this series. Ohio, your solo mid. The gentle giant, the Ogre, as he likes to call himself, playing the Magnus. And then in the safe lane, it will not be a Mushi OD. It'll be a ky.xy OD.
LGD or Orange knows that something is up. They rotated into the jungle, but they did not find Shen, and because of that, they're just going to go mid on Siler. But Siler level 1 hasn't skilled yet. He is not going to die. But Orange knows that something is funky when they don't know. They see Chen. They don't see Chen in their own jungle.
I like this from Orange because I think the Razor does very well against Prophet, and maybe they could tower dive and kill Xiao 8, but they don't really have the best level 1 ganking combo. Shadow Demon Nyx is okay. It's not that great. So I think this is the better way to play it. Make sure that your OD doesn't give up any kills early. And sure, LGD's running a Lich tri-lane, a very awkward one with a Chen, but you can just pull the creeps, and you'll be absolutely fine. The creep camp has not been blocked, so the Lich's deny skill isn't really a big deal as long as you're able to pull, and they will be able to.
Yeah, and ky.xy only with a 1 last hit. And that, granted, it is versus a triple lane. They really need to secure some farm versus them. They're trying to just pull a little bit of their creeps, but this tri-lane from LGD is working out way better than I expected it to. The creep wave in a relatively safe position, being pretty close to the creep, pretty close to the T1.
Mushi's already got his Ring of Basilius now. A little bit more damage, a little bit more pushing power. As for the mid lane, Sylar's doing a nice job of zoning Ohio. He was pulled heavily. He starts with the Quelling Blade as well as the Stout Shield, and Magnus can, once he hits level 5, the last time I saw this matchup, the Lifestealer dominated the early levels, but once the Mag hits level 5, as long as he's bottle crowing and rune controlling decently well, one or the other, he can just spam Shockwave, and then it gets actually kind of hard for the Lifestealer to stay in lane.
So this looks like a sacrificial, yeah. They have a ward on bottom to protect them from the 2 roaming supports, but Chen has abandoned this lane. He has gone back to the jungle. He does not want to be where the supports from Orange are, and if Orange doesn't get too much out of this early game, and by that I mean a significant CS lead or a couple of kills, including first blood, then I think that LGD can take the mid game by storm.
Like you said, they have the much better split push lineup. Orange, the lineup that fights well as in small units or even as a 5-man group in the early to mid game. But they've got to get there first. The farm for ky.xy started off slow. He's picking up the pace now, though. 6-4 for him, 10-1, 11-1 for your mid mag. But of course, is being surpassed for the time being by Sylar. Sylar, the lead farmer, 16-3. So LGD China, slightly ahead overall, it looks like in terms of last hits. Pretty even for them. But the Chen should, in the end up getting more experience than anything Orange can as far as their jungle pulls go.
And on the top lane, we see Net over there by himself, but I don't think they can get a solo kill on Xiao 8. They probably have to disrupt the setup, and after that, he can just TP out unless he gets massively owned by Mushi's large right-click damage. But for the meantime, we see DD trying to mess with them a little bit with the Hellbear Smasher, putting out some pressure. In terms of CS on the top lane, it's pretty even, 8-10, so a lot of denies going away to Xiao 8, but slightly more last hits going to Mushi on the Razor.
Yep. Mid lane, pretty passive farming from both heroes for the time being. Sylar just right-clicking Ohio, posting up on him whenever he can. The level 3 Shockwave is coming soon. Ohio's still farming well, and the thing with the Lifestealer is he's not going to kill your Magnus unless he is a ganking partner. Otherwise, Magnus can always just skewer away. And if Lifestealer's raged, he won't even be able to bring... he won't even be brought with the mag. So, Ohio should have a fairly fast Arcane Blink if this keeps up. And then it just comes down to the question of trades. And right now, what do you think about the trades?
I think it's very good for LGD. I expect them to lose the early laning phase pretty badly, but with Sylar getting so many last hits in middle, with Nature's Prophet keeping up decently versus the Razor, especially with a
12 denies, a lot more than decently, actually.
Especially with a Shadow Demon behind him protect him, and Chen just having free reign of the jungle, I think that LGD is coming out way better than expected in this early game.
I just don't really understand the purpose of Net being here.
I don't understand
What
either.
is he doing top?
I think he's trying to creep pull a little bit, maybe. No, he can't creep pull because the ward is over there blocking it. He could try and protect them from the Chen, but they don't really expect that much attention. There's a TP on bottom from Xiao 8. They want to push this tower.
He's level 5. He's got an army of trans. ky.xy. This hero cannot stop pushes. Extinct hero
And there's a
cannot
TP
stop
in
pushes.
from Net. But they're outmanned 4-3 on bottom, and they have a lot of things to take.
They got to
tower.
sack this. Ohio doesn't have a TP.
This is really scary for Orange.
I can't believe they're trying to defend it. This is very risky. Only a level 2 Chen, so he's only got 1 creep, but Mushi.
Oh, wow. No Breathe Fire on Dragon Knight. Wow.
Only level 3. Did he take a point? No, he didn't take stats.
Did they change his icons? When did this happen?
Ugh, that's very confusing.
Well, looks like they're going to put Yao against Mushi up top, but I think Yao is going to have a much tougher time than the Nature's Prophet will, just because the static link is just so easy for him to get off. And I don't understand why that rotation happened without them going behind the tower. If the tower was pushed, if the creep wave was pushed up to the tower, and then they just TB'd around here with the Nature's Prophet and then summon Treants to tower dive him, I would have understood it completely. But it's a unfavorable laning change because Yao, I guess he's getting more levels than he would on bottom, but still, it was unusual.
But Mushi was getting completely outlaned by the Prophet, and now Mushi is 28-9. He didn't leave the lane. LGD rotated their heroes forward to the bottom lane, and then ended up backing off, accomplishing nothing. Now they'll send DDC packing towards the top lane, DD joining him as well. So they abandon the offensive tri-lane, and they just basically say, you can have free farm on your OD. We're not really going to contest your Magnus either. We're just going to completely trade with you. And I'm going to disagree with you a little bit. Personally, I don't feel like LGD has the much stronger late game. Because Orange have
they definitely don't.
Insane hard carries. I guess the one question is, can LGD just outpush them? But
yeah, I think they need to outpush them. Orange definitely has a stronger late game with OD now getting free farm.
Maybe I misunderstood you.
Yeah, I think it was like early game, Orange lead, mid game, like 5-20 LGD lead, and then if they don't make a lot happen, 20 minutes plus Orange has the huge lead in terms of hero comp. But LGD is doing decently. They need to make something happen soon, I feel like, just because giving OD free farm is not very good when you don't have appropriate late game to deal with it. Nyx Assassin is actually very, very good versus OD. If you don't get a BKB on OD, you're just going to pay for it heavily.
Nyx is on his team. So.
I know, but this was part of the draft. If Nyx Assassin just generally owns OD in terms of like other counters, there's not too many heroes that like straight up counter OD besides Nyx Assassin, I feel like.
Yeah. That hero sucks to play against.
Yeah, you get like mana burst
hard
like
counters. Like, how many heroes? What heroes does he not counter? That's the real question. Because even some of the strongest heroes like Batrider, he's fantastic.
Lifestealer owns Nyx.
That's true. Lifestealer
owns
predator.
like everything.
The Nyx owns the Nyx. It's a confusing world we live in.
Yeah, and the Nyx bombs.
Yeah, and yet they're good friends. Top lane though, this could be our first blood. Mushi, he's been isolated. He's been caught out as he so often has today. Now he goes in. He wants to make a play on DDC, but he can't. You know, Mushi has just not been having the best day. I don't mean to pick on the guy, but he's been getting caught out and picked off a lot.
Yes.
And he does have a pretty good observer ward here in the jungle. Just got greedy. He was chasing the Lich. He thought he could get a first blood. And there's been nobody bottom for quite some time. So we should have expected at least 2 to 3 heroes top. Ends up giving away a first blood.
You have to expect better from Mushi, though. I don't understand why he is just dying nonstop. We saw in an earlier series today he just got caught picking off nonstop. Luckily for them, though, he is not the main carry on the side of Orange. He's more of a utility carry, just trying to deny a lot of the damage on the Lifestealer and the Dragonite and just be generally annoying in team fights. But ky.xy is a real carry here. Let's see what build he's going. He has an early Staff of Wizardry. It won't be a Mech Rush.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be a Force Staff for him. Who's going to build the mech, though? Ohio's got to get a Blink. He's their big initiation. I don't think he can, even if he wanted to.
We could say Razor get a mech too. He does have 2 branches in his inventory and no magic wand. We have seen Razors get it. It's decent. Yeah.
I know AUI 2000 loves it on Viper, and Razor in a lot of ways is quite similar to Viper. Sort of your mid-game, kiting, anti-carry, just annoying here on the fights. You want to be as tanky as possible, and you do your damage by living for longer. So mech on him wouldn't be half bad. They have rotated Ohio top. They've sent Mushi mid. Ohio is definitely the harder hero to gank of the two. So I think considering that Mushi's had this slow start, it works out. Also, matches up pretty well against Sylar, so not a bad lane adjustment, actually. I kind of like this.
Yeah, not bad. DD still farming away on the Chen. He is only level 4. I think is a little bit under level, but he and many heroes in the game have just been constantly rotating in between lanes. Top to bottom, top to bottom, top to mid for Mushi, and just a lot of lane rotations going around with not too much being accomplished.
1 kill for LGD on the board. They got that first blood of Mushi, but now we're just back to the good old farm wars. I want to check hero levels, because I think that's this is a game where a lot of these heroes are very level dependent. The supports, the carries as well. Ohio is diving top. He could go for an RP if this shockwave connects. It doesn't. Now we'll get Dragon Tailed under tower. He went for a play. He might pay with his life. Ohio will skewer through the tree line, but Xiaoweight's waiting there. So too is the Centaur. Ohio isolated. He'll go down. This top lane is a death trap, and now Sylar's on the hunt. Diving for net. Can't find him.
That was just a questionable play.
Super greedy dive.
Yeah, that was super greedy dive. They have Shadow Demon, but Shadow Demon can't save him from that.
I mean, you're up against Prophet, so you know Prophet can be there. Sylar could have TP'd. And in fact, probably wanted to leave that lane mid anyway, because he doesn't match up well against Razor. And Chen's off the map. So you had to assume there could be at least 3 to 4 heroes there.
Yeah.
And if you don't hit that shockwave, there's no way you kill the Dragon.
LGD has been doing a good job of capitalizing on Orange's mistakes. If Prophet didn't TP there, maybe he would have just gotten away, but they realized that Orange tends to be a little bit more aggressive than not in the early game and really punishing them for that with the first blood on Mushi, almost caught in the exact same position.
Capitalizing indeed. On the side of RNG Esports, they give up a tier 1 top, now they'll back off. The good news for RNG Esports is that Extinct is hitting level 6 soon, and he could potentially prey on this backline. Dragon Knight, Nyx, or Lifestealer are not the easy kills, but the Lich, the Chen, the Prophet, very vulnerable to getting picked off, so the positioning will have to be good. In comes Extinct. This looks to be the death of Shao 8. There's your Impale to start. There is a Hand of God. Nope, no Hand of God available. No way out for Shao 8. They'll force a TP, though. Mushi gets him. Now the TP gets canceled. Yeah, you don't want to jump into a Razor who's hitting for nearly 200 a pop.
Yeah, he tried TPing out, but man and burn. No banana left on the Nature's Prophet. I would like to see some Force of Nature scout. That's what we see a lot of the Eastern Nature's Prophet do, and I'm surprised that he didn't really have one over here. Generally, they have a ward or just constantly sending them out, making them use a smoke or Vendetta, which Nyx finally is level 6, so they have multiple ways to try and deal with those trees.
So I actually really like this Force Staff pickup by ky.xy, because first of all, you can Force Staff out of Sprout. That's one of LGD's, actually one of their more significant disables, as funny as that sounds. And if anyone gets Dragon-tailed, as long as they're facing the right way, you can Force Staff them to safety, and there's just not a whole lot of follow-ups, lockdown. So I think the Force Staff and OD, it's kind of a standard choice, but you mentioned they could have gone mech first. I think Force Staff is
pretty good for him, too.
LGD really, they do have a pretty strong 5-man push, but they have to push into RP, they have to push into max rank Shockwave, Shadow Poison that's already level 2, and then 3 points in Plasma Field. Basically, there's actually a lot of AoE on Orange. They started off with very little, now they have a lot. They're smoking towards mid, and now it gets revealed. ky.xy, there's your Force Staff, but could be in trouble. Where's that disruption? Not being used just yet. Now it comes out. No, actually,
it was disrupted on the
disrupted the Lifestealer by mistake, a misclick, but looked like he was going down anyway. Well, the Force Staff would have gotten him out if
they're going behind the tower. They're going so aggressively.
There's an RP on a few, but where's the follow-up? Skewer away from the teleporting heroes. Here comes Mushi. Big, bad Mushi, but a Chain Frost bounces toward him, and all of a sudden he's very low. Now he's isolated. Now he'll get picked off. It looked like it would have been a fantastic little fight. ky.xy, he's bought back for this. He's back into it. Can he find anything? Mushi's still alive. Not for long. Down he goes. Sylar, no one fast, trying to run away. You know, that looked like the perfect setup for Mushi. I mean, Mag hits 4 with an RP, skewers them, and then shockwaves them. That's the max damage that Ohio possibly could have delivered. There was no OD ult over the top, and then that just meant that it wasn't enough. Mushi couldn't get the damage in.
Yeah, things are going to be even tougher now that Chen has his mech, too. So, good push, not push, good gank by LGD there. I didn't think that they would be able to kill the OD right there, especially with the Force Staff, but they know just exactly how many they need. They use the smoke to get the jump on them, and even with a defensive disruption on Shadow Demon, he wouldn't have died. So killing ky.xy is really important for them because they already killed Mushi once early. They need to kill ky.xy a couple more times so that they don't crush them in the late game.
I really would have liked to see him buy back instantly there, like if they were going to take that fight. Otherwise,
yeah, he didn't use his ultimate for that fight.
Yeah, he bought back, but it was too late. If he had bought back immediately and then Magnus RPs 4 heroes and the OD ult is there, that's probably a team wipe. Or
yeah, I'm surprised that LGD doesn't have more sentries. They're pretty vigilant about it. They could have used it for the Mag Invisible. Obviously, they can't always tell that the Mag is invisible, but they have the Nyx Assassin who hit level 6 after the gank on the Nature's Prophet on bottom, and they have to be prepared for the Vendetta ganks.
For the time being, ky.xy farming mid, and now Sylar. Will he go for a gank? He's rushing the armlet. He's your lead farmer, not because of CS, but because of just kill participation, as well as the tier 1 top having gone their way. The first tower's gone to LGD. Orange still looking for their own. The score 5-2. It's game 2 of a best of 5 with LGD China leading 1-0. Your grand finals for the RedBull ECL, and we might have an engagement right about now. Ohio, lurking on the high ground. Good positioning to find an RP. Can he find one? Up they go. LGD, they've breached the high ground. They'll rotate down through the middle lane. They're setting up shop. They're getting ready to go. But your Magnus Oh, he's been caught. Now he tries to TP out. Is there a Chain Frost? It's cooling down. The second you cast Chain Frost, the enemy hero gets mini-stunned. But wasn't in time. Didn't have the cooldown.
So let's check Magnus's item. Still about 1,200 gold away from the Blink Dagger, and Yao is putting a lot of pressure on me. It looks like this probably should be a Bree tower for them. Their heroes just aren't in position to take this fight.
This is exactly what you said they should do. Just split push early, get the map control advantage, abuse Orange and their reliance on the Mag Blink Dagger, on Mushi being tanky, which he's not really, and just take those early towers, and now they're going to go Roche.
Yeah, I think that if they get a sheep up, a relatively early sheep on Xiao Wei, then they can actually start taking team fights later, but sooner or later the Nyx is going to be a problem. Sooner or later the Magnus Blink Dagger is also going to be a problem. But they have significant early enough lead to deal with it, and we see them probably scouting out Roshan. Is it going to go down fast enough?
There's a Chain Frost. This could be a dangerous place to fight, but there's also RP. They're going to scout out a few heroes in the pit. They know the Roche is going on. Do they contest? Shockwave flies forth. Roche dropping low. Look for Ohio. He's got the angle for an RP on 2 carries. He's waiting. He hasn't skewered in yet. Roche is dropping pretty fast. Still no engagement. They're biding their time. They're all waiting. Ohio, no RP yet. Still waiting. Still holding. Mushi defensively disrupted. Shockwaving everyone back. Will they try and steal this Roche? Can they snipe it? They've secured positioning. Now LGD, spread out. They have heroes on 2 sides. And in fact, it looks like Net's going to head south, but while he's doing so, his team is probably getting the Roche. Roche dropping fast. Roche dropping very, very fast. The Aegis goes to ky.xy. Now the fight breaks out. There's your skewer. Ohio, he's done it. He's found 3. Where's that Shockwave? Where's that follow-up? Unfortunately, they're still tanky. They're still alive. Aegis is going to pop. Now Orange in a bad way. LGD's carries are just looking way too tanky. ky.xy forced after the high ground. Now TP's out, Xiao Wei, no mana to prevent this aggression. They just don't have AoE follow-up after RP. I mean, these RPs look amazing.
Yes.
3 heroes, OD's there, Razor's there, and then nothing happens.
I don't exactly know what happened to Chain Frost either, especially with the recent buff. It could have wreaked havoc. I checked the cooldown. It had been used, but I did not see it fly out. That's pretty much LGD's best team fight spell.
Yeah, it could have been great for LGD, because Orange were grouped up inside of the Roche.
And they had no BKBs either. It would have done a lot of damage.
Well, Orange, they do deny the Aegis to LGD, which is, I think, very important to do that. I don't know that it matters.
Ooh, a book on Xiao Wei.
Wow. That's split push central.
Yeah, they want to end the game early, and you don't need sentries if you have book 3.
Mana burn. Also, you can send the creeps and target Magnus with them, and then he can't use his Blink Dagger. You can mana burn the Owl Devour, and obviously he's pretty squishy, so that hurts a lot. It's not a bad pickup, but mostly this is for the split push.
LGD is just finding really good timings to push. They have this like small window where RP is off or on cooldown. They push a middle when all of Orange's heroes were out of position. So they're just making very good use of their lineup, knowing that they need to get towers in this early game because they can't win a farm war or a late game war versus Orange unless they have a significant gold advantage.
They took the tier 1 bottom. Now they back off and they go into the enemy jungle. They're farming some neutrals. Here comes Extinct. He starts with an Impale. He's only caught Yao.
Where are the sentries from LGD? Still none.
One thing I did want to mention is the other reason maybe to get this book 3 is, hey, you want to split push anyway, and it'll give you free detection. But right as you say that, they have a gem, or rather dust, and now they'll catch Mushi. He's dropping in a hurry. Won't be stealing any spells. Not this fight. No siree.
Wow, they had RP too. I thought he was going to drop a big 3-man RP there, but only a few of his teammates there, I suppose.
I honestly don't know if they have the damage. ky.xy doesn't have that much intelligence. He hasn't been able to steal much. He's often defensively astraling in fights. And now Yao
getting caught out again.
Yeah.
This hurts him so much. This is just another free tower.
To be fair,
for LGD.
Net got caught out there too. But,
yes.
I mean, when these two both get caught out, there's no defensive disruption. And
he needs BKB.
I mean, he's not their big damage dealer. He's their hero who distracts LGD while OD dishes out the damage.
Mm-hmm.
But OD naturally struggles against magic immune heroes. Lifesteal already has max rage, and your Dragon Knight's going to have a BKB fairly soon for Yao. So what does OD actually do as we approach the mid game? There's going to be this window for LGD China where I don't actually know that Orange can kill anyone. Even if they hit a perfect RP, a perfect Impale, a perfect OD ult, there's still a BKB and rage. It's going to be trouble.
Yeah, and I think that they could have gotten a jump a lot more. Nixus has been scouting out, but really tentative to gank LGD. They aren't grouped up as 5 all the time. We see Siler still farming up top right now. We see Xiao 8 split push occasionally. So there are opportunities to find kills outside of the 5-man, but Orange just not finding any.
Orange not looking so hot here in game number 2. They trail 3-9. They trail by 6k gold, about even in terms of experience, however. That's the good news. Now a Blink RP catches Sylar top. They'll need to skewer him away from any creeps. He gets Hands of God it up. He can infest. He will infest. And they just blew everything. A lot of time, a lot of resources, and they're not killing him. In fact, if they stay here, this could cost them a lot. Yao's hasted. Yao's coming in. The TP's coming from the north side. I actually can't believe they're staying for this. This looks so bad for them. And it looks like they'll try and hide in the secret shop. Out comes Mushi. He'll focus on Sylar. Come at me, Sylar, he says. Now your defensive disruption. The OD ult's there, but the Hand of God, the mech, keeps them in fighting shape. Now the chain stun on Mushi. Mushi dropping fast. Defensively Astral. Xiao 8, your first one to follow. Buyback immediately. Mushi low. Not out of the fight just yet. They're making what looked to be a bad fight turn out to be a great one. Sylar now going on to Mushi. Mushi dropping low. I don't know, though. This still, the carries are alive. Now a Blink Skewer from Ohio. No RP. He gets caught in the trees. They're going to lose a few. Sylar, there's your auto attacks. The Centaur Stomp comes through. They lose all 3 cores for a profit.
Why did Orange stay after that?
I thought I was going to eat my words there.
They didn't have RP, and without RP, you're just going to lose the team fight very heavily, especially when you only damage 1 hero on the life
I mean, they had an amazingly scrappy fight considering how silly it was to stay, but they were staying with no RP. And there was just no
Yeah, and they're not going to have RP like for another 20 seconds too. So even when he revives, if VTP's in, still not going to have RP, and they're just LGD just running away with this.
This is now all your outer towers for Orange. Yes, they've got the hard carries. They need a lot of farm to get to the late game. You need a Hex on the OD. You need Mushi with a BKB, and then some damage items, some tank items, maybe a Mantis Style to remove open wounds. They're not farming those kind of items with 0 map control.
Yeah, LGD is doing a great job of killing those 2 heroes. Mushi has died 4 times this game. 4 times in 22 minutes. That is a lot for your Razor role.
Yeah, it's 4 deaths, and it's just deaths at very crucial moments as well. Giving up first blood, that's crucial. Whenever he is dying, they're losing towers off the back of that. The bottom fight when he died here, near the tier 2, they lost that tower. This top fight when he dies, I mean, granted, that wasn't really just him dying, it was his whole team, but then they lose the tier 2 top and the tier 2 mid. These deaths are costing them more than just Mushi's death.
Well, maybe if you were given an easy mode like Lifestealer, 4-man gank on Sylar can't even kill him. What a hero. What a hero.
I mean, I guess the other thing is maybe Mag could have skewered him up. There's your Blink, RP on 2. Now Mushi draining some damage. Unfortunately, there's a BKB on Yao. DDC will fall, but now it's got to be a headlong retreat, I think. Mushi, defensively disrupted, but it's actually a kind of unfortunate disruption. Now he's sprouted. He'll be blown up. Test of fate to the face. Net to fall as well. And now that RP's on cooldown, LGD China, they can just push straight down the middle lane. Roshan not to respawn for a few minutes' time. Xiao 8, by the way, that book 3 is complete. It's been complete. And LGD, can they just go high ground here?
Wow, they Yao barely got his BKB off. I feel like if he didn't get his BKB off, the fight would have gone a lot differently for them, maybe even getting bursted down in the Impale and the OD ultimate after, but without it, just a complete turnaround, fighting at the T1 against a Prophet too.
Look at these cores. 3-0 and 10 on Dragon Knight, 3-0 and 8 on Lifestealer. They haven't died and they've been involved in almost every fight. What heroes these are.
Yeah, what heroes indeed. And that will be the first T3 tower down, 23 minutes in. And LGD, even without the Roshan, they are just executing their lineup very, very well.
Just want to say, Bruno, always hating on that Dragon Knight, but we see the power here. This hero is legit. He's here to stay. LGD China, they're here to stay as well. They've taken 1 lane of Rax, and now marching forward is ky.xy. Unloads a rather pitiful ultimate. Barely does a thing. Chain Frost still bouncing. The turnaround might be coming right now. There's your stun on Ohio. RP still cooling down. He's isolated. He skewers. His corpse lands on the high ground, but his hero, he'll be going back to Fallon. LGD China, they find 2 more kills on their way out. You can't chase into Chain Frost.
Yep. In terms of Orange's lineup, I think that Razor was like somewhat of a decent pick, but I think they needed more anti-push. It was very obvious from the very first 2 picks that LGD wanted to take towers early. When they start off with the Dragon Knight and the Chen, when there's a Gyrocopter and other heroes that LGD likes a lot that early, and then they have a Nature's Prophet too, you just have to know that they're pushing. And Nyx Assassin not that great versus 5-man because he really relies on ganks. OD needs a lot of farm and needs to be past the get past like the 25-30 minute mark when he can really shine, and he's like one of the worst anti-pushers. Shadow Demon's okay, Razor's okay, Magnus is okay, but I just don't think they were prepared to handle what LGD's strategy was going to be.
You know, I didn't like the lanes that much either. They could have sent OD or Razor mid against Lifestealer. They didn't make that adjustment. They started with a tri-lane Razor. They left him alone, which is okay, but then it's Mushi you're leaving alone, and it's Mushi's natural tendency to want to force issues, be over-aggressive at times, and you can't be over-aggressive in the off-lane as Razor. You just die. That's what happened to him. And then the other thing is they could have laned Magnus versus Prophet. If they wanted him to go off-lane instead, Magnus does well in that matchup. Not great, but certainly decently. He'll get levels off of it. So I felt like they could have then run the OD safe lane. He'll dominate whatever's down there. Or the OD mid and the Razor safe lane. I didn't really like the lanes that much from Orange, and I felt like LGD just had the better rotations. In addition to maybe like what you said, Orange, they had some weaknesses in their draft, but I think they still could have done much better this game if they just adjusted the lanes.
They made too many mistakes, and LGD just punished them so heavily for it. Every kill on the Razor, tower down, or first blood in case of the first one. And they just been using Nature's Problem very well. I think that Xiao 8 has been at the right place at the right time and getting tons of farm. If he dies, not a big deal, but he has been involved in almost every kill on LGD.
Busting out the book 3. A man after your own heart. I know you're a big proponent of this item.
I am a big fan of that item, especially when they don't have any BKBs on the side of Orange, except actually they have one on Razor now. But
so good.
It is so good. But we see almost a sheep on an OD, and this could change things around for Orange.
Look at DD. Dominating a creep from the high ground, and then he turns it around and 4-steps it up the hill.
That's cheeky.
Just so that he doesn't have to put himself in harm's way or run it into the
He does have a gem.
Yeah. This is LGD. I would say one of their strengths as a team is they know what to do when they have an advantage for the most part.
Yeah, most certainly.
Like when they're losing, we see they look very lost, right? They sit back, they turtle, they hope for their opponents to make mistakes. But when they have a lead, you know, take the outer towers, find your pickoffs where you can, put down aggressive wards, get a gem, take Roche, build the items to break the base, BKBs, Necro Books, Force Death Mech. They definitely know the recipe for winning from
They seem very good at not
advantage.
letting the opponents get back into the game. And
can Arge get back in? I guess that's the question.
That is the question. 15,000 gold lead for LGD. And if they get his next Roshan too, it's going to be very bad for them.
There is RP, but we've seen good RPs this game. Normally, I would say you can't count on a team with Magnus. There's no melee hero that can just cleave with the empower damage.
Well, OD has the deeps now.
Yeah, actually, you're right. All of a sudden, he's got a sight device. Now his ult might start to hurt a little bit. Prophet sitting on... Actually, the Prophet's almost got as much in as he does, so scratch that. The Lich... He'll take a lot of damage. The Chen will as well. And then, of course, your 2 strength heroes. A big wraparound from RG Sports. 28 minutes in. Looking to pounce. Looking to go. LGD are ready. It's a blink RP. It's only caught Yao. But I think they'll blow him up here. BKB is available. Haste is available. Won't pop either. Mushi on the chase. Chain Frost bouncing a Roche. Bouncing back to the BKB and Mushi. Not the ideal engagement. There's your OD ult. They found 2, but a buyback from the Dragon Knight. Now the Lich. Just carry Lich in action on the sidelines. ky.xy isolated. Force staffing, but cannot run from the final tower shot.
Orange was so desperate for that.
They dove into a tier 1 and a tier 2 that were still up, with LGD clearly having at least 1 or 2 buybacks this far ahead.
Solo RP and Sheep on the same guy, and Dragon Knight just bought back. He has his BKB. He had a haste rune in his bottle too. Easy buybacks for them.
YOLO, to quote the chat, YOLO indeed. YOLO indeed.
That was ridiculous.
That was the biggest YOLO play. Like, well, we're probably screwed. Let's just go for it.
And that is a free Roshan for LGD. And there is Abyssal Blade on Lifestealer. So screw your BKBs, says Lifestealer. But he might get static links too, but whatever.
Let me
Siler's
ask,
5-0 and 7.
Let me ask you, Ben. Where did you place any rares for this game?
I did not. I wish I did.
Yeah, I would have put all my rares on LGD.
Yeah, in a best of 5, maybe in a best of 3 or best of 1, Orange can like maybe cut ahead. Yeah. But LGD is just so consistent, and like you look at this gold graph, it's just like straight down. They don't make very many mistakes at all. They just very consistent, and sure it may be predictable, but still teams can't beat it most of the time.
Orange is a very good team. I just feel LGD is not a good matchup for them as well, because Orange is this team that goes for big aggressive plays, but then often makes mistakes.
Yeah, high risk, high reward.
LGD is so good at punishing mistakes and at not making too many of their own.
I need to place my rares, man. You got to remind me.
Yeah, you can't bet on individual games, right? Only on the series?
Correct.
Well, it's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. I guess I didn't know who was actually playing too, but Well, I don't bet on DK. DK's way too inconsistent for me to bet on anymore.
Yeah, you don't even know what DK you're going to get either. It's from the drafts to, like, Bernie was playing Bounty Hunter. That's great and all, but...
Yeah, and IG too. IG has been...
He just doesn't have a big body of work in any role except for 4 Protect 1. And if they're not going to play 4 Protect 1, maybe they can win and win big with that. They've done it recently, but I wouldn't want to bet any money on it. Certainly not my rare. It's even more valuable than money.
So here we go. Looks like another T3 push from LGD. They have the Aegis on Dragon Knight. They'll have the buyback on Dragon Knight, nor do they have it on Shout 8.
Here we go.
Quick 4-step by ky.xy.
Look for the jump. Look for the leap. It's all about Ohio in this fight. He needs that perfect RP. There is a scythe up right now on your OD. They're still working.
Yeah, that smoke.
Look at Chow 8, though. LGD, just no commitment right now. In fact, they're just...
Look at their spread. Oh, my goodness. This is like quadrilateral.
Oh, in we go. Mushi's going to jump. Extinct. Fishing. Mushi, Abyssal, and then Bash, the defensive disruption from the Shadow Demon. Couldn't disrupt his Mushi because Mushi was BKB'd. And now Net. He'll fall as well. There's your RP on 4. OD'd as well. Is it enough? Pile driving them back, but now watch out for Sylar. It's a buyback from your Shadow Demon, I believe, and I think he just went down again. That's GG.
That is GG.
RNG Sports overrun, outmanned, brought down, and outplayed. They lose game number 2. They're now 1 loss away from being your second place team.
It's nice seeing LGD kind of shift away from the 4 Protect 1 strategy and just rely, like in Sylar we trust, with the anti-mage super stacked with like 500 creep kills in 40 minutes, or his carry Spectre carrying them through in like a 60-minute game. LGD has shown somewhat more creativity than we've seen. It's still like general, like same playstyle, as in we play like relatively passive, wait for an opponent to make mistakes, but they're ending the games very early, not relying on farm Sylar, and I think it's great that they're expanding their strategies, running different lineups, not going with the Alchemist Gyrocopter first pick that I've seen like in the past few weeks.
And RNG Sports trying to be creative, but perhaps too creative for their own good in this
They
case.
need anti-push, Keeper of the Light, so good versus push.
They also just need to make better adjustments. I mean, that was the other big problem for me. They didn't. By the time they moved Mushi off that off lane, he had already given up first blood. He had wards. He was still diving Lich when 3 heroes were off the
Mushi
map.
needs to stop dying. Like,
put him on a hero that can go for bigger plays. Like, if you want Mushi to play his standard balls to the wall aggression, don't give him Razor. Give him Queen of Pain. Give him Puck. Give him a hero with margin for error.
or give him Razor with Tree.
Yeah.
Give him Tree it.
Or give him a tri-lane. Don't leave him by himself. He is not a hero. Mushi's just not an offlaner because he doesn't play like an offlaner. He doesn't play safe. He doesn't play defensively.
He loves farming?
He likes to die for kills. And LGD love to punish that.
Why is it Mushi mid?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
Your guess is as good.
RNG needs to change things up. They got rolled in game 1. They got pretty rolled in game 2. LGD well on their way to secure a 3-0 victory. I guess it's only 2-0 now, so too early to say. But again, this is the RedBull ECL LAN Finals. The final 2 teams are Orange and LGD, and Orange is 1 game away from being eliminated in this best of 5. Again, LGD is up 2-0. Game 3 will be coming up next.